Sorry, be right back. Let's wear my hat. My hair's always a mess. Alright, wear this hat all the time. Hi, my friends. Are you ready for chapters 6 and 7? Now, on to reading chapter 6. I love this book. This is better than my first one was. Because first one was just getting the story started, my universe going. This one was just continuation of my said story. I hope you like it so far. Please give me a thumbs up if you do, and subscribe if you haven't already and you like my story so far. All right, chapter 6. Relax, Bonnie. Mom and Dad will love you. Stephen says as he stands on the narrow, cramped flight deck of the Wolf's Lair as it drops out of orbit over Centauri Prime. And Bonnie maneuvers around the defense satellites, each pointed skyward, but did not aim at her ship. I haven't seen them since I left when I was just 17. What will they think of me? They said that they want you back in their lives, sis, and they love you despite all that has happened, Stephen says, resting a hand on her shoulder. They talked via radio just before lifting off from Orion. They were thrilled to hear from their long-lost daughter. Lone Wolf, Centauri Traffic Control. You are clear to land on the grounds of the Royal Palace, she hears in her headset. She's wearing civilian clothes for this trip, while below deck, Hannah rests comfortably in the med bay, and Julia sits beside her, smiling ear to ear. She and Bonnie are now best friends, despite what happened in the past. Bonnie, I want you to know that Mommy and Daddy will adore you, Julia says. Thank you, Your Highness, Bonnie says. I want to apologize for what happened on Beta Geisel. I was doing my job. Bonnie, I've forgiven you for that. We're family. Families forget the past. I have, Julia says. Bonnie can still feel some apprehension in the princess's voice. All right. Yeah, Lone Wolf had taken her and frozen her in that block of clear like sand steel, then took her to the Emperor on Ukrania Prime. However, she has had 2 weeks now to forget those past events, and soon Bonnie will be an aunt to twins. Last time I was here, I was hunting for you and the princess, Bonnie says. Forget that, sis. Stephen says, smiling. You're at home here as long as you want to stay. The Wolf's Lair lands on the parade grounds outside the main entrance to the royal palace as people watch the vessel slowly ease down on the grass. Dust settles in its wake. A ramp slides down, and the rear door slides upward. And the medical team and Hannah's parents board to carry Hannah Baxter out in a hover gurney. Portable. No need for wheels. Followed by her parents, both hugging each other. Sorry. Mom, Dad, I know that you two haven't seen her in a long time, but here she is, your daughter, Bonnie, Stephen says, following them out next, followed by the princess and Bonnie. Mommy, Daddy, Bonnie says, running into their arms now, crying. Bonnie, both say, crying openly too, as they have a hug, Huge family hug. Stephen joins. She helped me keep Hannah alive long enough to get us back to Hawk Base, Dad. Stephen says Bonnie and their mom hug and cry some more. I think the Baxter family is very grateful for her help too, his dad says. When we went back out to retrieve the Vipers, both were buried almost completely. We could only see the vertical tails for both. Hannah and I would have never survived a night in them. We would have frozen to death if it wasn't for Bonnie and Owl Slayer. Thank you, Bonnie, my daughter, Stephen Sr. says to Bonnie. Sorry. Thank you for helping Stephen save our daughter, Lone Wolf, Hannah's father says as he walks up now, a tear of happiness on his cheek. My name is Bonnie, sir, Bonnie says, smiling. Bonnie H. Spears. Sorry, Bonnie, Mr. Baxter says, smiling now. Thank you for helping save our daughter and bringing her back to us. We owe you a lot. Forget it, sir. I could not see these two people die pointlessly. You're the bounty hunter? Lone Wolf? King Alfonso K. Larkin II asks, walking up. Sorry, yes, Your Highness, Bonnie says, bowing. As to Stephen, his parents, and the Baxters. You and I must chat after you have been questioned about your past. My daughter has vouched for you since your actions on Orion, so I will not have you arrested. If you accompany the people from the ORNI, Rebel Office of Naval Intelligence, they will question you. It is not an interrogation because you are not under arrest. Thank you, sire. Bonnie says, nodding. I expected nothing less from the Rebel Alliance, sire. Bonnie says, nodding. Armed guards escort her away, their weapons either shouldered or holstered per the king's order. She is not put in shackles or led away by the arm. The guard surrounds her, but they only do this out of respect for the person and the king's orders. She shall be given quarters here in Centauri Prime when this is all over, the king says. Thank you, father, Julia says, still a little wary of the woman who took her before the emperor against her will. 7 days have passed, and Bonnie is released to venture into the city and see her new home. She's been given some money to spend in a lovely house to live in outside the city limits, if she so pleases. Today she's returning to Dietrich's, where her journey all started some 6 months ago, but this time she is a customer, not a bounty hunter out on the hunt. Welcome to Dietrich's, Bay says as she walks up to the bar. What'll it be? Jack Daniels? Bonnie asks, shocked to see bottles and signs everywhere. 800 cases of the best whiskey around, the woman says, smiling as she pours a shot glass of the whiskey for Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie says, knocking down the contents of the glass. More, please. Of course, stranger. Smiling as she fills the glass again. Bay, please put this woman's drinks on me, Seth Dietrich says as he joins them. You got it, boss. Thank you, Captain Dietrich, Bonnie says as they step away from the bar and walk to his private corner booth. All right. One more page of this, and I am on my last chapter of the book. I do this for the people I consider my friend, Bonnie. Sep says, sorry, phone's ringing, but you helped one friend who I consider not only my friend, but also my brother, Stephen Spears. And he helped to save a good friend, Hannah Baxter. I could not let them both freeze to death out there in the ice, Bonnie says. Nor would many of the people here at Dietrich's and here on Centauri Prime, friend, Bonnie says, Seth says, nodding. Stephen is a hero, I know. Look at him, a captain of the Rebel Alliance, and just turned 18 less than a year ago. It's chapter 6. This is the part I like, because Now you know why I call this book what I call it. You won't know until the last page, and it's only 2 pages long. Chapter 7. Sorry. Can't let you see that. That's chapter 7. On the edge of system L3812. Am I reading this right? 9 planets in the system. The outermost is icy, and the following 4 are gas giants, and the 4 inner planets are all rocky. 3 with atmospheres. Sounds like the Sol system. The planetary survey team leader says, confused. That's what the scans and readings indicates, Professor. One team member says. Let's do a flyby of each planet then. The team lead says, nodding. Course plotted and laid in, Professor. The ship's navigator says, take us through one planet at a time. The professor says he leads a survey team looking for possible habitable planets to settle the human race on. They are some 15 light years from the Alpha Centauri system, 20 light years from the Sol system. The star at the center is almost the same as the sun in the Solar system. They pass planet L3812-9, Pluto. It's an exact match for Pluto in the solar system. There's one big moon, Charon. This Pluto is devoid of any human habitation. Oh my God, the team lead says as they fly past Pluto awestruck. L3812-8, Neptune. Is an exact match to the same planet in the solar system, minus the planetary defenses, and a base on Triton, the atmosphere-shrouded moon, and its geysers and all. I must be dreaming, the team leader says, shaking his head and clear his mind. It's more interesting. I guess I wish you were, Professor, but we must all be dreaming the same dream, his assistant says. L3812-7 is Uranus and its rings. Uranus, my God, the professor says. L3812-6 Saturn is an exact match to that ringed gas giant in the solar system. Jupiter will be next. No need to pass L3812-5. Move on to Mars, then Earth. The professor says. They pass through the asteroid field and then pass by Mars, L3812-4, and its 2 moons. It is not terraformed like Mars in the solar system. Then they move on to L3812-3 and pass around the large natural moon. Earth, the team leader says, shocked. Earth's all right, Professor. 5 bigger in volume than the late planet Earth we all know, sir. His assistant says, take scans of the surface in the smallest detail, people. We need to get this back to Centauri Prime. The professor says as they pass over the North American continent. Lush in vegetation. However, they do notice the signs of a global network of roads. Many abandoned cities and towns are located along the road network. In the cities, towns, villages, and even a great wall along the southern border of what should be Central America, are devoid of intelligent life. Life is abundant everywhere. Take us home now, the professor says. The government needs to see this. Yes, sir, the navigator says, plotting the course. And that is book 2. Now you see why I called it Roman Earth Mark II. I had to leave. I wanted to leave that for the end. Actually, I didn't intend to do that. It just happened that I couldn't think of an idea for the end of the book, and that's what I came up with. Then I remember the original Star Trek episode where they find the Earth, and I think the episode was called Miri. Earth, where the children are 200 years old and they die when they reach puberty. But that's not what happens on this book. That you have to find out for book 3. And I haven't even started writing that yet. I got it actually on rough draft form, but that's all I have right now. I just finished, but I thought you'd like that. That's why I left it hanging. I just wanted you all to find out why I name it. And you won't know why it's called Roman Earth. You gotta wait for me to read chapter 1 of this book. But you'll see why I called that in book 3. But I wanted to show you that I did find chapter 7 explains why I called that, though. I find a second book, find a second Earth. Still working on, I still have 2 more books I can start writing now. But this was fun. I hope you enjoyed the battle I had. It was sort of like from Empire Strikes Back, but I couldn't do it all like that. I used my own ideas. And I had fun. But you know why I call it Roman Earth Mark II. Well, you know why I call Earth Mark II, but you won't know why I call it Roman Earth Mark II until I start reading book 3. And I think I'll do that next week. Yeah, well, I gotta start writing that book on my computer. Book 2 is done, book 1 is done on my computer. I still gotta start working on book 3 on my laptop. I hope you like my book. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, please leave it in the comment section of my book, of my videos. Please let me know what you think of the book so far. This is only book 2. I still have two more after this I've got written. I have a 5th one. 5th. But that's not even on rough draft form yet because I'm stuck on ideas for that one. But I won't tell you what I did. I forgot what I did on book 3. And then what I told you. But thank you, my friends. Please like and comment. And I will see you again soon once I get book 3 on my laptop. I don't know how long that book's going to be and how long it's going to take me to write it. But soon I will be actually going through the publishing process. I'm already in the publishing process. I got a book title cover, which I like. I won't tell you anything more than that. It's a cool design for the first book. The second one, haven't put that in yet. Soon I will. Once I get through the publishing, the first book thing, stuff with the first book. Told you it'd be a short reading because when the really long chapter 6 and 7 were not very long today. So I decided to read both today at the same time, both chapters. I'm going to call it a day. Have a good night, my friends. God bless you all. And thank you for listening.